So just finished my own run. So pardon the sweat. It was inclined. There's inclines. There's Vermont inclines. They're brutal. It was fun though, but that's not why we're talking today. I want to talk about functional fitness. I feel like that's a really common thing to be talking about nowadays, but not a lot of people understand what it is. It's almost a buzzword. But every human being, no matter what you train for, or even if you're untrained completely, has some kind of an imbalance. Muscular imbalance that can use corrections. Tightness is something, and what functional fitness is are corrective exercises to help alleviate them and to open up some of your potential. So whether you're looking to lose weight, run faster, lift heavier, some form of functional fitness should be included in your regime. So about a year ago, I wrote myself a mesocycle, which is essentially a month-long program designed to improve my endurance, my speed, my strength, whole 9 yards. And part of that was full range functionality is what I call it. It's a 40-minute routine that I used almost as a warm-up for my heavier lifting days. But it's the cornerstone of the whole thing. And even though I've changed the program a lot over the course of this year, that one routine hasn't really changed. And it has healed me from injuries. I have used it with clients. It's just been proven. So I was originally kind of holding on to it because had this idea that I was going to write a program one day and maybe sell it, but I seem to be allergic to the idea of selling fitness. So fuck it, I'm just going to give it away today. So we're going to talk a little bit about this entire program. It takes around 40 minutes, again, and you should do it about once a week. You don't necessarily have to do as much as I did, but I'm going to break it down, and let's do it. Okay, something of a weird angle, but I want to use the chalkboard today. So hopefully it'll show up in the video. If not, it's okay. I'll be describing things. All right, so the first thing is you want to focus on foam rolling. It's how I start the routine, and I recommend it's how you start this one as well. Foam rolling, it targets knots that your muscles get. So think of your muscles as long fibers, and sometimes as you work, they tend to get knotted up into little clusters, and those only tighten with use. So stretching isn't enough. All you're doing is kind of pulling those knots tighter. You want to try and get those rolled out. If you ever had a deep tissue massage, that's what it's doing. You're finding those knots and you're just working them out. Now you can find a bunch of tutorials online on how to use a foam roller, but real simple. You basically want to get your major muscle groups onto it, find the most painful knotted muscles you have, and just let it sit on it. So you're not really just rolling it out like dough. You're not making bread. You want to find a spot, pretend I'm lying down, and just kind of settle on it and put as much weight as you can into it. So it'll hurt, it'll be uncomfortable, but you get used to it. Now, most places have this type of a foam roller. This particular guy is at 5 Below. It's a really soft one. It's good for beginners. If you're not used to foam rolling, start here. It is very uncomfortable, very painful, but you will adjust over time, and it's very valuable. Again, not very expensive. As you get more and more used to foam rolling, or you start doing harder and harder things, you're going to want to get one of these little trigger point guys. So this is much harder. It's a denser material, and it just sucks. But eventually it's kind of what you need, and if you go back to one of these, you'll really feel the difference. So start here, graduate to this. This is almost required, especially if you're doing performance. If you're a runner, you need one of these. But still, no excuses. Get something cheap and easy if you have to. And 30 seconds minimal per muscle, right? So you don't just want to find that hard spot. Ow, it sucks. You're on it for like 10 seconds. You need to give it 30 seconds to about a minute. There is a signal that gets released for a signal that gets sent to the muscle, and it takes time. It takes around 30 seconds of it sucking before your body goes, all right, relax. So don't just get on there, think it sucks, and then pop off. You really want to make it matter. I tend to do 30 seconds of muscle group, so I'm kind of tearing through the body without wasting too much time on the foam roller. But if you do it consistently, you won't be getting so much knots, so that's okay. So enough about the foam roller. If you have any questions, ask. Feel free to, I'll be happy to talk about it ad nauseum. All right, foot flexing and rotation. I'm gonna have to kind of turn the camera around. So foot flexing and rotation is pretty straightforward. I don't know if you can see it there. Point, 10 times. point, and then rotate 10 and rotate 10, internal and external. Gives you a lot of ankle motion, mobility. You can never have too much range of motion in your ankles. You need it to be as loose as possible. They get tight. The tighter your ankles are, the tighter your knees are, the tighter your hips are. Everything's attached. Nothing is in isolation. You need your ankles to be nice and loose. Then I follow the soleus stretch. Soleus is muscle back here in your calves. So, man, this sucks without a camera person. I'm gonna have to get Justin to start videotaping me. Let's just do some sloppy editing right there. Balance that on the ball. And you see me stretch? Not really. That's okay. Bring it a little lower. I'm not even gonna edit this. You're gonna just watch this raw shit and be like, "The hell's this guy think he's doing?" All right. Foot turn forward. It is really easy to have your foot turning outwards and you're not really getting a good stretch out of it. You want that toe to be in line with your other toe and then lean forward. I like to have my knee right up against the wall so it doesn't come out too far and push away from the wall just a little bit. 30 seconds to a minute per foot. Again, you want to stretch that muscle out. I personally have really, really tight calves. No matter what I do, they just love to tighten up, especially after a run. They just, genetically, it's part of me. Arms, stretch. Now, you want to reach nice and high on this one, and then come down and bring your shoulder blades together. You want to get used to that motion. Oh, did you lose focus? So you're reaching up, and then bringing back here. So if you'll notice my arms are back, you're not just kind of reaching out and then bringing it down here. No laziness. It should feel like you're trying to pinch your shoulder blades together. As you're doing this, feel free to get into a squat. And as you get better and better at this, the squat will look better and better. Let's see if I can't. All right, so I'll reach up, bring it out, feet wider in shoulder length by just a little bit, butt out, down, connect. Inhale, exhale. You don't need a whole bunch of those, but around 5 gets the job done. Gets you nice and loose and limber. And then you're doing a yoga pose after that. That's the next move. Yoga pose is you reach straight up. Now, I like to hold my fingers and aim straight up there and really stretch. You're not just kind of standing here lazily. You're really trying to reach towards the ceiling as heavy as possible. 30 seconds here. Then bring our one arm down. Feet together, reach across and turn your head towards your bicep. 30 seconds there, 30 seconds there. You're going to feel your core loosening up. Your obliques are going to loosen. Your lower back is stretched. Wakes the body up. Very important. All right, arm circles. You probably did this in gym class. I did when I was a kid. Arms are out. And you're just going to make little circles. So, pretty straightforward. Palms up, small circles, maybe around 30 or so. Then bigger circles, then in reverse, and in reverse. And if you're really feeling like you want to get complete, palms down, same deal. Small, large, small, large. Loosens up the rotator cuffs, and that's kind of what we're transitioning to. From here, you want to grab yourself a PVC pipe. Be right back. Ow, I just stubbed my toe on weights. That hurt. I'm not editing that out either. Pipe. PVC. Broom handle. Friggin' whatever stick you have lying around, it does not matter. Don't make it weigh anything. I got this for a few cents at Home Depot and then I put tape on it because I'm stupid. Arms wide. Hands, if you look at the grip I make, closed grip gives you less range of motion. So as you get more flexible, that will challenge you more. If that's a bit much, open your fingers up. Give it an okay sign. That'll give you a little bit more range for your shoulders to move. See how the shoulder kind of moves in the socket there versus right here where you just don't have that option. Arms straight. Up and over. Don't hit the wall. Now, it is very tempting when you're doing this by yourself to kind of bend the elbows. You're not getting a stretch there. If you can't come all the way around, you did not mess up the stretch. Most people don't have the shoulder flexibility, especially at first. So, you want to right as far as you can, but keep those arms straight. Pull this apart a little bit so you're kind of really opening up. and just hold it. Breathe. If that's as far as you can go, that's as far as you can go, and that's fine. It's not about tearing your muscles, but don't cheat the movement. Make sure it's done correctly. After you've done that, this is too zoomed in. Let me turn this around and step back. I'm not actually using that chalkboard, am I? I don't think so. Oh well. That might work. All right. That's good enough. So, coming around, you can't see everything. This is a dirty video, isn't it? Much better. There we go. Okay. Feet together, hands nice and wide, arms stay straight. Now this move seems to confuse a lot of people the first time they do it. Just watch, follow along the video. One arm stays down, other arm comes up, elbows stay straight, and you're coming all the way around. Again, tightnesses in your shoulder may stop you at a certain point. That's okay if you can only come here and just do it on both sides. Do the best you can. Don't tear it. Don't get super, my toes inflaming. Don't get super crazy with it. Next up, take this, bring it over your shoulder, kind of over your lats, and pull up. So the idea is to pull your arm back. So your elbow's trying to point towards the ceiling as much as possible. You're just opening up that rotator cuff, opening up that shoulder a little bit. About 30 seconds aside. And then last but not least, well, no, there's actually two more. This is kind of uncomfortable with people. Now, I grab it by my fingers here, put it up against my elbow, and turn outwards. So you're opening up the shoulder, the front shoulder right there is uncomfortable. And some people can't really get that far. If you can only come here, that's good. But don't drop your arm down and do that, because that defeats the purpose. You want it to stay up high, almost like you're doing a front squat where your elbows should be shelves. So when you're coming out here, turn it slowly, breathe into it. If you can get out here, congratulations, you have the loose shoulders. If they don't get out there, congratulations, you don't have loose shoulders. It's not a competition. Last but definitely not least, grab your PVC pipe down here, grab it up, pull, hold. After you've done that for 30 seconds, pull down, hold. Switch sides, same deal. You're opening up that shoulder. Doesn't take very long, but the more you do it, the better you will get at it. And I'm going to cut the video here. It's at 10 minutes and start another one to continue this. Straddle and hang. It's the next thing. It's exactly what it sounds like. So feet are wider than shoulder length apart. They should be. I like to have my toes both pointing forward on this one. Not everything is going to have them perfectly forward. Sometimes those feet will externally rotate. But for just a stretch, feet, toes, up and down. Keep the back nice and straight. Keep the knees straight. Don't bend into them. And relax. Now, when I say relax, people tend to keep their necks tight. Let it dangle. Kind of hug yourself here and just swing lightly from side to side. 30 seconds in this position. Then, pick a leg. Grab it. Pull yourself towards it. You're trying to get your chest over your lap. So this doesn't work. This does. You really want to hold it. Again, keeping both of the legs straight. And maybe tighten your hamstrings, especially if you have really tight hammies. That's okay if you can't go down that far. If you can only be down here, that's fine too. Over time, you come down lower. So 30 seconds on each side. Then, you want to stick the butt out, bending the knee, making sure the knee does not come out over the toes. Then, reach on over on the other side. 30 seconds here. 30 seconds there. And then right back in the middle and come on up. You'll notice that your hands are closer to the ground at the end of that whole little section than when you start. All right. Hip bridges. So, glutes. They're one of the two biggest muscle groups on your entire body, and you'd be surprised how little we actually use them. So a lot of times we try to compensate with our quads, our lower backs, whatever. You know, we end up not activating our glutes. You want those things to work. So we do hip bridges, and these do a fantastic job of teaching you to use your butt. So feet flat, and they're just around shoulder length apart. Now, when people do this move, let me at least get some face in there. You're just staring at me. All right. When a lot of times when people do this move, they think about kind of arching their back. Don't do that. Come on. Focus. Over here. There we go. All right. What you want to do is you want to squeeze your butt cheeks together and squeeze your stomach in a little bit, the lower stomach. Think about getting your belly button to your spine. That's a really good way to kind of, right there. You're not arching your back. That's your lower back. We're not trying to hurt that. We're trying to make your butt work more. Now, nice and slow and controlled, between 10, 20, 30 reps, really start to feel your glutes. Now, if you do this for a while, if you get used to it, you may not feel your glutes at all after a bit. That's okay. You don't need to do this a whole bunch. If you're new to it and your butt's really burning, you should do a hell of a lot more of it because you need those muscles to activate, especially if you're running. Next one, this is a relatively new adjustment. Arms kind of come wide, toes point up. Okay, so you can see this guy right there. My toes are now pointing up, squeezing the glutes together. And what you're going to do, stay on your shoulders, hold yourself here, lift a foot up, and bring it right back down. So you want to make sure as you're doing this, you keep your core tight and pretty much in line. So if you come all the way down here and bring it up, you're kind of defeating the purpose. You want those hips to stay high. It's going to really work on your core. It's kind of uncomfortable the first few times you do it, but it's really, really valuable. Bird dogs. So you want to be on your hands and knees. Knees are just around hip length apart. They're not super wide. And your arms should be directly under your shoulders. So you don't want to be kind of out here with it. You want to be right there. Then opposite arm, opposite leg. So say you reach out your left arm, you kick out your right foot, and then, so you can see the foot, you drive the heel back. So you don't want to just kind of be here holding it lazily. You really want to squeeze your glute, boom, keep the core tight, and reach your shoulder as high as possible. Thumb to the ceiling, not here, right here. Boom, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. We can keep this video going here. After that, calf stretch. Make sure you get your back engaged. I like to, at this point, point my toes on the ground, so I'm kind of stretching out a little bit. Same position you just were otherwise, and then breathe in, breathe out. Now, when you're rounding that back, really try and just shrug through it. Really exaggerate the motion so you're getting your spine nice and stretched. There's a bunch of little muscles in there that need to get looser over time. And that's a good one. About 10 to 20 calf stretches. I didn't actually say how many. Next one, single leg balance. Remember this guy right there, that balance pad I told you about? You're going to use it now. If you don't have one, just stand on one foot. But I highly recommend it. I could probably do it in front of the mirror so you can kind of see me a little better than if I was just holding it in my hand. Well, this is awkward. There we go. I think that shows it. But if not, it's okay. Foot in the middle of the pad. Boom. Core tight. Lift the leg. Hold it. 30 seconds. So, the reason why you want to stand on one foot for 30 seconds is you are getting your ankle supported, your knee supported, your hips, and your core all engaged. All of these things are very, very important. No matter what your goals are, running, lifting, losing weight, whatever. Just living, just being fucking healthier, you know? Like, you just want to be in good shape. It makes your life better when things don't hurt all the time. And a little bit of work goes a long way. After do 30 seconds of leg, just do a good old-fashioned quad stretch. You're not going to see it too well from there, and that's probably okay. This one's pretty straightforward. And I'm trying to balance it up. Then you're just basically holding your foot, boom, making sure that your knees stay together. I can't even see from here if it's on. You can notice I wear glasses. I'm not wearing them right now. But hips forward, knees together, pull that up, hold it, 30 seconds of leg. Get nice and stretched out on that one. Then, last but definitely not least, single leg toe touches. Foot pointing forward. Don't let your ankle turn. Feet, one foot. But you're not lifting it high. You're not coming out here. And you don't want the other foot to drift behind you. The goal is to try and keep both of your feet relatively together. Then, bending down. You want to make sure you're kind of bending at the knees. You're not bending at the hips. You're bending the knee down. Try and touch the ground with your feet staying close together and coming up. So from this angle, down low, and on up. Now, if you're tight, have pains, you may not be able to get all the way down. That's okay. Then come down as far as you can. If you can only do them right here, as long as your form is good, you're getting some benefit of it. But if you can get all the way down, that's a good sign. All right, and just the one last recap. So start off with the foam roll. Again, about 30 seconds of muscle group. Don't move around like a crazy person. Relax on a muscle. Make sure it hurts. Make sure it's uncomfortable. Foot flex and rotate. Point flex. Rotate in. Rotate out. 10 times each foot. Calf stretch. Again, 30 seconds. Try and straighten that leg out. Keep the toes pointing forward. There's a bunch of people outside. It's distracting. Squat, reach, stretch. Remember to bring the arms back. Don't let them fall forward. Mountain pose. It's a yoga thing. Mountain pose. Half moon pose. Keep the arms straight. Don't bend at the elbow. This is not a stretch. This is. You'll feel the difference. Arm circles, pretty straightforward. Don't shrug into them. Like it's really easy to kind of be up here. Let it relax. Let the rotator cuff do the work. It'll get tiring, especially if you're not used to doing it. PVC drills, whole 9 yards. Straddle, hang, reach leg to leg. Hip bridges, squeezing the butt cheeks together, sucking in the belly button. Remember, don't arch the back. You're not trying to pull your back. You're trying to get your glutes to activate. Bird dogs. You can also do the bird dogs where you're kind of moving in and out, reaching to kind of connect your elbow and knees. I like, when it comes to this, to just hold the pose. It's a good way to kind of work on your balance, and it's a good static exercise for your core. Cat stretch, that's arching the back, kind of rounding it out. Single leg balance, 1 foot on a wobble pad if you have it. A nice in-between using the stability pad and just doing it on the floor is getting a foam roller and cutting it in half. So if you get one of these guys and you slice it right down here, you'll have kind of this half-shaped bowl. If you lie it on the floor and put your foot on it, it's actually easier than using the stability pad. There's only one direction. Laterally, your foot is unbalanced instead of forward, back, side, all crazy. So that's a nice in-between. If you can stand on 1 foot for 30 seconds with absolutely no issue, but the stability pad is a little too hard, get a cheap foam roller, cut it in half, boom, there you go. Get good at that, then get yourself one of those pads. Those things are cheap, they're like 15 bucks. Quad stretch, pretty simple, stretch the quad out, and single leg toe touches. Particularly if you're a runner, particularly if you're a trail runner, do those single leg toe touches. They will make sure the ankle becomes injury proof. You'll never realize what benefit it did for you when you roll it over a rock. It's the injury that would have happened otherwise. So this is a really good preventative exercise. All right, I'll leave a photo of the chalkboard up, and feel free to steal it. If you have any questions, if I did a really bad job explaining anything, ask. Have a good one. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but fucking ow! Really hurt that toe.